Tonight, blame game. A pilots union spokesman pointing the finger at the FAA over a string of recent terrifying incidents on planes.
What we need is for the airlines, the FAA, to do their job. We've got airlines scheduling us to the maximums. They're reducing pilot training. They are basically running along a barbed wire fence right up to the maximums, and we shouldn't be surprised when we see these safety seals start to leak.
It's pretty terrifying, adding to flying fears an alarming number of violently turbulent flights that are resulting in serious injuries and even a death in just the last week of a former White House official. Tom Foreman is out front.
Violent turbulence has been a feature of flying for decades, with each year bringing fresh and frightening examples.
A lot of people hit the ceiling and a lot of screaming.
A series of recent incidents have alarmed some flyers.
It was honestly pretty scary. It was kind of like out of a movie.
And they have terrified others.
My life just flashed through my eyes. I thought it was the end.
Climate change has been scientifically linked to increasingly severe weather. So, amid all the headlines about planes being rattled, a troubling question has emerged. Is the climate making turbulence worse too? Yes, says the co-author of this 2019 study, Professor Paul Williams, who studies atmospheric science.
Which the climate change has made turbulent flights more likely in much the same way that it's made heat waves more likely as well. Climate change is strengthening clear air turbulence at all flight levels, in all seasons, everywhere around the world where there's a jet stream.
Simply put, he says climate change is creating atmospheric disturbances which generate a ripple-like effect in the air even when no bad weather is apparent. But proving a link for any given flight is tricky. When a passenger is injured, like the 7 who went to the hospital after a Lufthansa flight a few days ago, or if someone dies, as happened with a woman on a private jet over New England, the National Transportation Safety Board notes the incident. But it does not track turbulence on all flights.
And frankly, that's not enough. We need to have a more robust system, because the attempts at forward-looking radar to pick up clear air turbulence, they simply have not panned out yet.
More information is key, researchers say, because the threat is not going away.
So I'd love to see more efforts put into collecting reliable, robust data as we move into this more turbulent future.
There are indications the Federal Aviation Administration is indeed going to step up its efforts to collect more data on turbulence, but it's a really big job. Still, if it works, it could lead to smoother and safer flights ahead. Aaron?
Certainly, I mean, it's terrifying. I don't think anybody watching can not, I'd have to admit to yourself, it's scary. All right, thank you very much, Tom. And I want to go now to Captain Sully Sullenberger. Of course, we all know him as the hero U.S. Airways pilot in the Miracle on the Hudson landing in 2009. He's also the former U.S. ambassador to the International Civil Aviation Organization. And Ambassador Sullenberger, I really appreciate your time. And I just want to start with something there that Tom was reporting on. This issue of climate change and, the increased energy in the air and the relationship with turbulence. Do you have any doubt that there's a connection between climate change and turbulence?
I think it just makes sense that as there's more energy in the air, there's potential for more turbulence and greater turbulence.
And look, it's scary because we hear about some of this, it's in clear air. There's no way to sense it, right? I mean, it's very unsettling and can be scary. It also is in the context of in the past 6 weeks, we've had 6 different close calls at U.S. airports, major airports across the country, New York to Hawaii, and American, Delta, JetBlue, United, all the major airlines involved in these. Now, we're talking about planes taking off and landing on the same runway at the same time. Some of this, sure, people have phones, they film it, but plenty of these are incidents people on board may not even have known about in the moment. Why do you think these things are happening now with such frequency?
Well, I think they're happening a bit more often. And now, of course, with people with smartphones, I think people are reporting and making public things that previously were not disclosed as quickly. As to the turbulence issue, I think technology can help. It's going to take some time. But if there were a way, and there are ways that are being developed for aircraft to sense the turbulence and automatically download to the ground the location, the altitude, and the intensity of it, so other flights could be known that in real time, it would be a great help. And in terms of what needs to be done, I think first of all we must have continuous, predictable, multi-year funding for all our essential infrastructure, for the FAA, for the air traffic control system. And I think if we did that alone, instead of just reacting and trying to play catch up, we'd all be better off.
Well, meanwhile, the airline lobbyists right now, there's a push to lower the required number of pilot training hours by as much as 50%. I believe you strongly object to that, right?
Let me be clear. That idea is dumb, dangerous, and ironically unnecessary. We're looking at the problem wrong if we take that approach. Here's one real-life example. If we needed to have more primary care physicians in rural areas, would we suggest that the answer to this problem was to cut medical school in half from 4 years to 2? No, we'd say that's crazy, because it is crazy. So we need to find ways to select, to train, and to get the experience necessary to our pilots, rather than try and find ways to cheapen and quicken what is a critically important training and experience evolution.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you very much, Ambassador Sullenberger, Captain Sullenberger. Thank you.
Good to be with you.
All right. You too. And next, Ron DeSantis picking a fight with the White House for blocking tennis star and anti-vaxxer Novak Djokovic from entering the United States for a tournament in Florida.
I would run a boat from the Bahamas here for him. I would do that 100%.
And a warning tonight about China from the U.S. military after Beijing builds its largest embassy right on American shores in the Bahamas.